The following is a recorded message. No pain is to be expected from the actions that follow. If you experience a headache or any discomfort, please press pause and you will return to your previous state. We ask that you refrain from all verbal communication with your fellow passengers during this trip, as it may cause disruption and a general glitch in the program. For your safety, please do not stand or leave the trailer while in motion. We are about to create a collective memory. Keep your eyes, ears, and minds open. Welcome to an altered state of Gagnef. They had come to this small town to create memories of their own. Once upon a time, on a path along a great river, there was a town known as Gagnef. It was a place where generations of creators of memories lived, for the very reason for their existence was to practice the creation of a memory. This practice had long been a mystery to the outside world, as they were focusing on sharing memories in an obscure two-dimensional form, missing the fundamental act of creating a memory made to last and altered into something strange. The people of the town quietly played out their lives, while building their red wooden houses with white corners, fences to protect their animals, gardens, and children. Some started fires in spring to prepare for something new. Some made pottery in their basement. It was a simple town for those who only came to visit, innocent to the loss of memories that grew more common in the outside world. To live, only to create memories, was enough for this simple town, and for the generation that would follow. One day, strange folks arrived to the town. They came in by cars and train. Some played music out loud, while others danced to the beats, eager to save the moments with an instant snap, as if such a simple act would help them remember. They had come to this small town to create memories of their own, so they gathered together, for a story was about to be known. In order to truly remember, they had to forget the act of remembering as an act in itself, and allow themselves to penetrate the event in all ways possible, and thus create a memory made to last. Before long, the strange folks found their way into the deep ranges of the town, stumbling onto the place where the life of Attilia Adelborg had been saved for all generations to come. They had found the memory cabins. The strange folks observed as minuscule cabins formed a town of its own upon the hill, scattered along the tip, overlooking the great river. They began to visualize the days of Attilia, how she must have walked among the cabins, watched the sunset while creating patterns of her own with her bobby pins. Time spun backwards as the strange folks observed the locals' care to the cabins, preserving a memory in its entirety, not as a reproduction. And as the strange folks fumed the chaos of their own world with the world of Attilia, the cabins came to life, and once again Attilia came into existence. The past and the present is one, kept safe from the altering stages of time. The strange folks' memory became invaded by shadows from an unknown past. For a memory was not a single entity, but a three-folded reality. As the fundamental world came in plain view, and their subjective eyes watched and peered, a mishmash perception of the collective group slowly formed, and the world became slightly askew. Perhaps the people of the town would not go as far as calling the strange folks' memories a lie, but they would call it a false one, and one that would never be alive. For a memory, if not shared and experienced by all, is no evidence of the past, and a memory lost for eternity and beyond. The strange folks stared back towards the hill where the memory cabins hid, pondering upon the experience of the two memories colliding, while instantaneously forming anew. The great bridge stretched over the river to the land on the other side. As the carrier with the strange folks turned around, they could see the memory cabins up on the hill, overlooking them from afar. And once again, they remembered the feeling of creating a memory, not knowing that was the intention of it all. So they released it as a group onto a memory stored in plain view, and the world they now experienced became a blend of the two. They looked at each other, bewildered and confused, not knowing if the others had seen what they had seen with their own minds, and was just as amused. For the hill and the cabins remained, and so did the bridge, now also imprinted in their minds as something lingering. But time has a way of changing things, altering the fundamental world, and therefore the perception of it can never stay the same. The townspeople knew this, and so they created a second place, made for the memories they had promised to keep. A place they held very dear. They cared for it, they cherished it, and they were happy to share. They called it a museum, but that was only a name. It was a place where stories came alive, and where no memory could ever be a lie. Because each drawing, note, and device had all the senses trained in their creation in time, and could therefore not be a passing thing. The strange folks continued their simple journey, and they moved towards the place where the town had stored evidence of the past, no longer in plain view, kept safe from the altering stages of time. The past had been gathered and put together in the form of letters and notes. They had become the viewpoint of one person, willing to be known. A simple word, or a phrase from the hand of Attilia, had created a passage in time for all travelers that had come to visit. For the townspeople were fearful, for they knew their memories would soon collide, and if they did not share what they saw, the memories would not survive. Creating a memory made to last. They had to forget the act of remembering is enacted itself. share what they saw, the memories would not survive. This part was familiar to the strange folks, for sharing their memories was all they wanted to do. Both Attilia and the town knew that the act of merely sharing was not the vital part of remembering, but the main reason for disremembering, and so they had figured out the missing part of the two. To share is not to cast into view a memory of your own, but to invite others to partake in the memory you are about to make known. So the townspeople saved a house for Attilia's notes, her dreams, memories, and letters, all for all to embrace as their own. She spoke of the past as if it was now, and so the present of the strange folks emerged into what was yet unknown. It was a story of Attilia, the past and the present as one, a three-folded memory, now created and done. As the strange folks began to question their own assumptions of time and space, of all things that had appeared blindingly obvious to them, suddenly became visualized in their mind, and altered into something strange. But in order for memories to bloom, first, they need to be made. This was the genuine reason for this town, and the teaching they wanted the strange folks to know. For sharing a memory can never truly be, if a memory was not created by the person who would soon set it free. Obscure as it was, as if hidden by dark clouds, the birth of a memory was not an easy task. It craved attention, love, and care. It needed others to comment and to share. It longed for time to move through space. And so the town saw the process as life itself. As they created gardens and plants, children of children, and houses of their own, the people of the town was not afraid to grow old, for they knew the process of memories needed time to become, and so they celebrated it all as a town for generations to come. With life comes death. This was not feared by the town. So in the town church they celebrated the naming of a child, the act of love, beginnings of summer, and the ending of one of their own. But there was never any sorrow, cries, nor remorse, knowing the memories of them would surpass them all, always to be told. With many generations of practice, the townspeople had the ability to go back in time, to localize a memory in an instance within their collective minds. The life of a memory is a fragile thing, for it may be created by one, or by a few, and only to last as long as it is kept in view. Each time a life had been loved, and shared to all as it had passed, an altered state of Gagnef was made to last. The strange folks had come with a mission, and left with a new. For a memory with no future was a story not told. forgotten, and made with no point. Pure sensations never to be unfold. As the strange folks had come back to where they started, they remembered the feeling of creating a memory. With the past lingering behind them, not always in plain view, they had come to realize that once back in the outside world, a simple photo would never be enough. They would need to add a word or two, for it all to be known. This is how to create a collaborative memory. To not only stare at the scene in front of you, to observe an everyday setting of a town, not at all, but to view all that creates the vivid image now presented to you. A house is more than its four walls, a place where a life has resided, and it tells it all. You will not be asked to stop believing in a memory as a thing, but to remember a feeling, and see the spaces in between. For that space is you, and the perception of the world brought to this scene. Imagine the person sitting next to you. Two strangers sharing a moment in time. A memory held so vividly within your collective minds. For this memory to live on in eternity, no photo or instant snap can make it justice. But if you invite the others by speaking your mind, telling the senses that surrounded you, perhaps they will understand. We all share the same place, and offer the shared reality of our collective truth, such as a uniform understanding of the fundamental parts that we hold in view. A tree may seem tall to you, or a bush may seem tall as a tree. The person next to you may not see the color green at all, or smell that morning dew. The idea of a photo becomes as lucid as a description of a memory no one beside you were part of to remember. There is no such thing as an ending. All things are created to last as long as we let them linger on, in this space we call time and relation, and the sensations that holds it together as one. You are now released back to your previous state of mind and place. The process of return may give a slight discomfort. This is passing and will soon be forgotten. Please carefully disembark to begin your next journey. All that is asked is that you keep your new memory with you. And if you would like it to take on a life of its own, feel free to pass it on. Remember that all participants may have a distorted version of your memory, with glitches of empty space. This can be restored with a mutual recollection. Feel free to discuss the event if needed. The following is a recorded message. We have now created an altered state of Gagnef. We thank you for your contribution. Please press pause and you will return to your previous state.